Hey everybody, welcome to the SoCal Dram Tram. I'm Matt.
I'm Caesar.
And today we got a little bit of a new type of video for you guys. Today is something that's kind of special for us. We recently had the opportunity to attend a pairing dinner at Macallans Public House in Brea, California. This is really a local restaurant for us. We've been there plenty of times. Shout out to the GM over there, Carlos. Man, you're awesome. We can't thank you enough for your hospitality and just the opportunity to attend this pairing dinner. We went to the Wyoming whiskey pairing dinner. Chef Andrew prepared some amazing food for us. It was a 5-course dinner, full spread. It was delicious, and the whiskey was even better. We actually also had the opportunity to sit down with co-founder of Wyoming Whiskey, David DeFazio, and he kind of answered a few of our questions, kind of gave a little bit of his history to us, and we really just want to say thank you, David, for taking that time to sit down with us, and we really do hope you guys enjoy the video.
Here it is. One.
Hey everybody, welcome to the SoCal Dram Tram. I'm Matt.
I'm Caesar.
And today we got a really fun episode for you today. Today we're going to be talking with David from Wyoming Whiskey. And he and his friends Brad and Kate Mead founded Wyoming Whiskey back in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. So a little on 15 years ago. And he's been helping out with Wyoming Whiskey ever since, kind of helping get things done. And we're very fortunate to get a chance to talk with him. I want to go ahead and say thank you to Carlos and Macallans Public House for giving us a chance to go ahead and shoot here. We're going to be doing a pairing dinner tonight, or I should say Carlos is going to be leading a pairing dinner tonight here at the restaurant, and Wyoming Whiskey is the feature. So we're really excited to get a chance to sample some whiskey, but also get a chance to talk to you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Caesar,
Awesome. So, David, on the website, I mean, besides that adorable dog of yours, it didn't say too much about yourself. What were you doing before Wyoming Whiskey, and what brought you to Wyoming Whiskey?
I'm an attorney.
Okay.
I guess backing up before all of that, I moved to Jackson, Wyoming for a year after college and before law school because I wanted to ski.
Okay.
Did the whole recreational outdoor thing,
Right
be a
on.
whitewater rafting guide. And then I kept coming out in the summers as a whitewater guide to get away from law school.
Okay.
I needed that mental break. And then went back to, when I was all done with that, actually was going to move to California and take a run at the legal profession here. But I met Brad and Kate before I did that, and so I got a job as an attorney in their firm in Jackson.
Oh, interesting.
And that was all she wrote. I was never going to leave Jackson. I mean, it's a fantastic place to practice law and ultimately get into the whiskey business.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Wyoming Whiskey being, was it the first whiskey distillery in Wyoming?
First legal distillery since Prohibition, yeah.
Awesome.
Our license number is 1.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So obviously tonight we get a chance to kind of sample some of what I call the core range of Wyoming. What do you think is probably, I mean, we've had a chance to sample a small batch of the Outrider, both of which we actually really like. What do you think is like your favorite expression? What are some of the things you think we should know about it?
This one.
Okay. Tell us
Single barrel represents the top 1% of all of the barrels that we find in any given year. So as we're batching our small batch, which is a 40 barrel batch, Nancy Fraley, who is, as I like to call her, the wicked sniffer, she is an absolute hero to us. And what she can do and what she can smell and taste and all those things has been a tremendous asset for us and has increased the level of sophistication with not only our batching protocols, but also helping in new product development and all of the stuff. So when she's tasting through hundreds of barrels at a time in order to batch our small batch, she will come across barrels that really stand out as far as their overall level of excellence. And they don't necessarily have a particular flavor profile. So our single barrel will be very different from single barrel to single barrel, but the overall quality is the top 1%. This is what I like to say, this is what you hide from your friends and give to your dad for Christmas.
Okay.
It's very rare. There's about 400 six-packs of it available a year on
406?
average. 400 six-packs, yeah. And it's highly allocated, obviously. It's the scarcest thing on the table, with the exception of this, which is was a one-time thing. And it just, I think it's the richest, best embodiment of what Wyoming whiskey is.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. So we often like to share memories on the show and whatnot. And the first like big time whiskey I ever had with my dad was probably Jack Daniel's single barrel. So for me, I'm actually really excited to try this one just for like the reminiscent aspect of it. But the way, I mean, you sold it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
It's easy to sell.
So I'm excited to try that. Kind of going on that similar, from batch to mash and variations and things like that with Nancy. What kind of variations have you seen with like between the small batch and small batch? I mean, obviously you guys have been around for a while. I read about when you guys first launched, it was something like 40 months in, if I'm not mistaken, into the aging process, and like it was received pretty well. But then you guys had to make some corrections. Is that correct?
I had to do the math there really quick. You nailed it. It was 3 years, 3 months, so it was 39 months.
Gotcha.
And it was too young. And I own it. I will take almost all of the responsibility for releasing it young. I was one who was pushing it. I'm the most impatient human being I've ever met. And it wasn't a financial thing. It was none of that. But Brad's brother was running for governor at the time of Wyoming, and he told me that one of the first 3 questions that he would get on every stop along the way was, when's the whiskey going to be ready? And that was just one of many pressures that we were getting. The Wyoming Liquor Division was getting calls daily. We had really built up quite a demand and an excitement behind it. Because Wyoming is not a place that exports many things.
Yeah.
It's cattle, it's oil and gas, coal, and it imports tourism. And so there aren't many products that say Wyoming emblazoned on the product. So people were fired up, and we blew it. And it was the worst mistake we made, in my opinion. If we waited 1 more year, we would have turned that corner on the quality of the product, but we didn't. And it took us a while to dig out in Wyoming, because they don't forget. You get one first impression.
Yeah.
Luckily, outside the Wyoming market, our first impression has been very good. And getting back to your question about the development of this, I would say that Brad and I would talk to always talking to each other, and I'd say, I think we really turned a corner on this batch. I think we turned 30 corners, over the course of our development.
Of course.
And then when we got into like 40, batch 40 is when we really planed out at a real, I would say, premium, ultra premium level. And very happy with this. Every batch moving forward should be almost identical to the last. Of course, there will be subtle refinements that we're making, but there's no changes that we're going to make to this. I hope that when you pick up batch 60, which is this one, or 65 or 70, it should taste nearly the same, with only the most subtle nuances between them.
Yeah, no, I mean, the bottle that I picked up, I can't remember the batch number, but it was from October of 18, so I don't know if that helps you at all.
I was about quarter number 28.
You're in the great stage with that.
Yeah.
That would have been in the high 40s or 50s.
I'll tell you, I actually really enjoyed it when we first cracked it open. I picked them up early last week, and it was interesting to me, kind of like the subtle sweetness that it has, but it's just got a really good flavor profile that's really just constant and consistent. It doesn't overwhelm you with anything, and so for me, it's just consistency is always a really good thing, and it doesn't burn you out at all. So I'm actually, my hat goes off to you. This is actually a fantastic bottle, and I really can't wait to try the rest of this.
Was that the first one that we tried?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was. I can honestly say it was incredibly smooth. Like when I first sample a whiskey, I like to let the alcohol soak and burn my tongue, so that way the next taste is like all flavor. But as I was waiting for the burn to go down, I was like, it's whiskey I swallowed a while ago, and there's still no burn, so it's like incredibly smooth. And I was surprised about that. I turned to Matt and I was like, wow, I was expecting a burn at least a little bit, but nah, it's very smooth. Like
Thank
a
you.
lot,
I appreciate it.
Do you have any questions you want to try?
Yeah, actually, so with everyone in whiskey, like the first time you drink it, you definitely don't get these flavor notes from it. You just get like harsh alcohol, bitter sweet or bitter taste. What was the first whiskey that broke through your palate that you noticed isn't just alcohol? You could taste these different notes in the whiskey.
Yeah, I can thank my dad for that. He poured me a glass of Elijah Craig 18.
Oh.
And Elijah Craig back then was very affordable. I'm talking, this was like college years or right after, I might not have been 21, but he said...
He was 21.
Yeah. He goes, you don't shoot everything, David. He goes, you just sip on this. You can try with an ice cube or whatever. And that was the first whiskey that I'd ever tried where I said, okay, I get it.
Okay.
And that opened my eyes to what was possible. And then that evolved into different things over the years. I wouldn't say I ever developed a sophisticated palate, and I wouldn't say I have a sophisticated palate now. My flavor profile that I like is pretty simple, I think, by a lot of people's standards. But I've always liked wheated bourbons.
Okay.
And when Brad and I set out to do this, it was all Brad's idea. Kate wanted to start a winery. That's a very difficult ask in Wyoming, given the climate, obviously.
Yeah.
And so when it was decided that was not the best idea, Brad said, but we could make whiskey. All the grains that we need are grown here. And so we got to doing it. And we wanted to do a wheated bourbon because whenever he and I were like going to birthdays or barbecues or, Christmas parties or whatever, we would always show up with a bottle of bourbon. Most of the time it was Maker's, which was coincidental because we ended up hiring Steve Nally from Maker's Mark to be our first distiller.
Awesome.
So that was just as serendipitous as it could be.
Yeah.
But
sure.
When it comes to what we were looking for, it was a softer bourbon. I'm not a fan of super high ryes. Where are we here? This has on average about 28% rye in it, so it has a little bit of the burn in the front, but the bourbon finish. But we wanted it to be on the lighter side, and I think most, if not every one of our products is that way, with the exception of like secondary aging when it comes to our Pedro Jimenez finished whiskey. So that's kind of how it all came about, and I could definitely bore you to death probably with all of the details and all the rakes that we stepped on in the field. We learned a lot from the beginning, and it has been quite a process. And now to be with Edrington, in their portfolio of whiskeys and all of their spirits, especially coincidentally Macallans, it's an honor, to be a part of their organization and to be partners with them.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
When you just said that this is finishing Pedro, that just made me very excited because I'm kind of a sherry head. And so this one I can't wait to try. So, fantastic. So one of the things that is interesting to us and interesting to me is whenever I go to trainings and things like that for work, we both work retail. I've been working retail now for almost 15 years, and you've been a distiller for 15 years, obviously I'm a lawyer and everything. 15 years is a long time, especially to be doing one thing. What kind of keeps you coming back to Wyoming? What kind of keeps you coming back to Wyoming whiskey, and what makes you want to?
Besides the free whiskey, of course.
It's the greatest opportunity that I've ever been offered in my life. I started my own law firm, and I'm very proud of that, and still maintain that with some great partners of mine and staff. But it's not every day you have an opportunity to build a national brand.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of what we've done with it. And I want, now that we are in partnership with Edrington, that was the one piece that we couldn't attain by ourselves. We were fully capitalized and we had everything we needed, but all the money in the world won't necessarily buy you what you need when it comes to distribution.
Definitely.
I mean, some distributors might say, oh yeah, all the money in the world would buy you what you need, but we didn't have that. And we just didn't have that deep of a pocket, nor did we want to. So being able to now come to work and work with really talented people at Edrington and to get the word out about it in a very, I've never liked the word organic, but natural way, and telling the story like this and doing things that just feel right and not forcing it into a market, but instead having people ask for it.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
It's an authentic story and it's easy to tell. I've always said I'm not a salesman, but I'm a storyteller. And it's very easy to tell the story of Wyoming whiskey because I'm proud of everything that the Meads and I have done from the beginning. And now to get to work with folks that, maybe we're going to be using some Edrington sherry finished barrels moving forward, and maybe this goes away, gets replaced with something even better.
Ooh, good to know.
Things like that. And the innovation, we've got a really big project coming up here in the next couple months called Project 44. We're going to be auctioning off four bottles of the very best of all of our whiskey profiles. And the goal is to raise a lot of money for the National Park Foundation.
Awesome.
And I'm not at liberty to talk into too much detail because that has not been announced yet and who's involved and all that. But I can assure you that we have spared no expense. We spent a lot of time working on it with 77 Ventures, which is our design and marketing company that does a fantastic job for us. and we're really proud about what we're about to do.
That's
so
awesome.
working on these bigger stages now is really exciting.
Yeah, and partly giving back too. It goes full circle. That's awesome.
Yep, for
Very
sure.
awesome. I'm a firm believer in anything you put your passion into, like it'll definitely show in the results at the end. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. You have any questions?
And
I mean, I can keep going. So
Let's go for it. Yeah.
So I tend to follow a lot of different whiskey tubers out there and whatnot. Obviously, we're relatively new into that community on YouTube and whatnot. But one of the things that I have kind of noticed is with Crowded Barrel, if I'm not mistaken, you guys had a partnership with them. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah? So that was under the Alliance banner, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
How do I get a bottle?
You can swing by my house. I have one bottle. It's opened, and I'm just kind of rattling it away just because I don't want it to disappear. Those guys are great to work with, and we were very discerning. We wanted to make sure that they did a good job, not to cast any doubt on their abilities, but we just hadn't worked with them before, and we got a sample of some of their stuff, and it was really good. So we were happy to do it, and I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Yeah, that was kind of getting over my overall question. Is the Alliance series, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of treated like an independent bottler, right? So like an SMWS or Alabama. So what was that like in terms of attaining their trust to know that you guys were giving it this liquid and you wanted to make sure that it represented the best of Wyoming?
Well, I mean, whenever you listen to any of their podcasts, they know what they're talking about. You check that box to start. But then how can you translate that knowledge into the production of something that's going to be great? And that's a big, that's different.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, they had sent Sam a sample of something they had already done, and they sold us on what they would be doing with our whiskey. And we were convinced that it was worth the risk. We didn't think the risk was that great. We thought that they're going to do something really unique. And when you safeguard your brand, you want to make sure that you're not ever disparaging it in any way. And if they didn't know what they were doing and knocking us down, that would have been a bad thing. But it was a risk that we took, and I'm pretty happy that we did it because they did a fantastic job of it.
Awesome.
It's good to hear too, because obviously smaller craft distilleries, you want everybody kind of do well. It's good for the community, right? It just makes competition always makes for the best stuff, the best product, for lack of a better word. So this one's a bit of a personal one. One of the things that I'm kind of fascinated with, and I'll have to admit that I actually stole this from Daniel from the Whiskey Tribe, is where do you like to drink when you're off the clock, if there is such a thing for somebody who's a co-founder of a distillery?
I rarely drink at home,
Okay.
when especially if I'm by myself. I never drink by myself. I usually try to get outside, and if I'm sitting around, I'm doing something. But where I love fishing. And so it is nice. I have a drift boat, and a bunch of my buddies and I fish the rivers of the West. So it's always nice to have a sip of whiskey on the river. It just seems to turn the day around. If you're having a bad morning, you do that, and everything seems to be better. Ski season is a big thing in Wyoming, and I love drinking at the Mangy Moose. After skiing, there's not much better than that. It's just that's where I've been going for the last 20-something years, and it's a great spot out in the village. And in downtown Jackson, there's a bunch of places. The Rose is a great cocktail bar. The Cowboy Bar is an iconic spot. Has saddles for bar seats, and
Nice.
so you ride the saddle all night. And they've got great music. They have a great job. They do a really good job in what they're doing there. It's under new ownership as of 2 years ago, and they've injected a lot of energy in bringing in better country bands. They have a direct link to Nashville, so they're bringing in some of these acts that you would never see out west. And so that's really fun. It's fun to drink there as well.
Do you have any more questions before we wrap this up?
Do that. I think we're good.
Awesome. So obviously, in today's world, obviously we're shooting stuff for YouTube. It's kind of a big, social media is everything, branding is everything. What's the best way that we can actually keep up with Wyoming whiskey, keep up to date with you, if you want us to follow you?
I would, obviously follow Facebook, follow our Instagram. Those are the two main platforms that we're focusing on. I have not done a very good job recently of sending out our Whiskey Baron newsletter, just because with the transition and moving in and like assimilating into the Edrington Empire, as I call it, our focus has been on other areas. But I've been encouraged recently to get back on that train. And if you go to our website and you sign up as a Whiskey Baron, you'll get that newsletter when I finally get around to doing the next one. And it's not like I clog your emails often. That would be like maybe twice or 3 times a year with big announcements. And
Okay,
whatnot.
could be worth it.
As long as you hit me up less than my bank account, that's fine.
Guaranteed. I think it's been a year since the last one, so yeah, you're safe.
That's awesome. Well, hey guys, that's going to do it from us today at SoCal Dram Tram. Again, we want to thank you, David, for taking some time to sit down with us. We're looking forward to the dinner, looking forward to trying some stuff. And we want to say thank you again to Carlos and the Macallans Public House for letting us shoot here. We've had a wonderful time so far, and we're looking forward to the rest of the night. Caesar, you got anything else you want to add?
Nah, what about you, Matt?
All aboard! Woo, woo! Catch you next time.
So, how'd you guys like that video? David was a super cool guy, man. He really gave us some good information. We had a chance to sample, I believe it was 5 different whiskeys from them. Before we kind of deep dive that, what did you think of the whole night, Caesar?
I thought it was great. I thought it was an amazing experience. I think the food went amazing together paired with the type of whiskeys that were shown. And to be honest, folks, before tonight, I would have never guessed, except beer and pizza and beer and hot wings and beer and tacos, that alcohol and food can never go well together. And I was blown away to find 5 different courses with 5 different whiskeys that pair up beautifully, phenomenally together with each other as I did tonight. It was amazing. I was blown away at it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys saw in the video, there were actually 5 whiskeys that we got to sample. We got to sample their small batch. We got to sample the Outrider, which you've seen us review on our channel. But we also got a chance to sample their single barrel, which was David's favorite of the whole lineup. I remember asking him, you know, if you had to choose one bottle from your entire core range, that was the one that got him most excited. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he said, you know, this is the bottle that you hide from your friends and you give to your dad for Christmas.
Yep.
And it's something that's super cool because you can tell he's got a lot of passion behind it. They also had a Pedro Jimenez finished bourbon, which for me kind of stole the night. I've been trying to find a bottle of it since. And then there was also one that was, God, what was it called? It was the one with the horse. Do you remember what it was?
No, I forgot what the name was.
Man, we're looking like, you know, super professional right now. But we're kind of doing this off the cuff. But nonetheless, it was a really cool dinner. And kind of like Caesar was talking about, you know, we don't have a whole lot of experience of pairing alcohol with food. But Chef Andrew at Macallans Public House does. And man, did he knock it out of the park.
Amazing.
You know, we had anything from, you know, pork chops to jerk chicken noodles to a pear salad that was like Asian inspired. It was incredible. And I found my... Go ahead.
That was like to ice cream with corn pop cereal on it
100%.
that paired amazing with the whiskey. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, that's the one I'm forgetting was the dessert whiskey. And again, it was really good. Probably my least favorite of the night, but it was really good. But I did find myself we even had a French onion soup with duck meat in it. It was incredible. I don't even like duck.
Usually, I was gonna say usually duck is really gamey, but that night was splendid, like a well-roasted chicken. It's like, I'm not sure if this is really duck, but hey, it's good.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. I found myself taking a little of my whiskey in each pairing and just kind of pouring it on top of my food. It was kind of awesome. Everyone at the table was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, making my food better. What's wrong with you? But nonetheless, guys, hit us up in the comments. Let us know. Did you like that video? Before I go any further, I want to apologize for a little bit of the audio issues. We know that you couldn't quite hear me. Don't worry, we're working on it. It was our first event. You guys know when you do something for the first time, everybody's nervous. You kind of pull out all the stops, and sometimes you forget something. But that's okay, because the next time we're going to learn. And but again, guys, do us a favor. Tell us what you thought about it in the comments. Did you like that video? What kind of questions would you want us to see ask future people at these dinners? Because we're going to have another opportunity to go to another one of these. I'm not going to tell you who it is just yet, but we're going to have another opportunity to hopefully do this again. And again, we just want to say thank you to Carlos and Macallans Public House, David and Wyoming Whiskey. You guys were all fantastic, great hosts. You got anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, just to add to that note, guys, go ahead, go online, check it out. They do these whiskey dinner pairings once a month, and it's $100, I believe, a person after taxes and fees, but it is well worth it. Not only do you get a personal, professional, prepared chef that prepares these dishes after he tries these whiskeys, so that way it goes well together, but you also get 5 2-ounce pours of great quality whiskey as well. 5 of them, folks. So if I were you guys, and if you guys are in the local Orange County area, anywhere in Orange County, it would be worth the drive and worth that money to pay $100, go down to Macallans Public House and try this amazing stuff so you know what we're talking about. And hey, if you run into us, say what's up. Let's share a dram together. Anything else?
It happens. Somebody has actually seen me in public, and it was the weirdest but coolest thing that's happened. But guys, again, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you thought. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and hit that little bell for notifications. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're not going to let this video go any longer because we're probably running on 30 minutes. But nonetheless, guys, we appreciate you sticking around with us. You got anything else you want to add?
Nope.
You know what comes next. All aboard. Catch you next time.